your feet. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Everybody you meet, everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah. Say hello to somebody around you. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. All right. Woo.
Good morning, everyone. William, you're missing a mic up here. I don't know if you're a practitioner. Just saying. Anyway, how's everyone today? Are you all ready for this big week that's coming up? Anyway, it's wonderful to see you all, and I'm looking forward to next Sunday's service. Anyway, let's do our opening to our vision, our mission statement, please. William? Let's say this together, please. Enthusiasm.
We are a dynamic, open, and positive faith community that accepts all religions. Our mission is to awaken you to your divine nature, empowering you to create the life of your dreams. We are changing lives one heart at a time.
All right, so we have lots to talk about today. Don't forget, today's the last day to sign up if you want to be in the program for Christmas and donate money for the 27th. There's a form out there you can fill out, or you can go to the office and your $10. Today is the pet ministry, so don't forget, they'll be out there with greetings and day goods. It might be a nice gift for somebody to take home for Christmas.
I'm not sure if that would be.
It would be, you get a little, yeah, it would be real nice.
I think consent is important. Yeah. All right. Never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. This Wednesday, we are having a movie night. There's no charge to show up. It's a documentary about really changing your mind, changing your body, and changing your life. And that will be here this Wednesday for free. So, you might be a little interested. That's a good thing to do.
So next week, our Sunday service is at 10 a.m. We only have one Sunday service next week. What time is that? 10. So if you show up at 9 o'clock, go to Starbucks and come back. All right? Because we're only having one service next week, and that is at 10 a.m. We are then having two services in the evening on Christmas Eve. We have the 5:30, which incidentally, all the tickets are currently gone. So if you didn't pick up your ticket already, you can stand by if you like. We have a stand, you can stand by. 15 minutes before, we'll open it up to standbys for people who don't have their tickets and that are in. But we still have plenty of tickets left for the 8 o'clock. So please come to the 8 o'clock, grab your tickets now. I would advise you to do that so you have a guaranteed spot at the candlelight at 8 o'clock. So again, services next Sunday are at 10 a.m. Okay, I don't want people to like be, where were you at 9? Tell your friends, okay? And next thing, I'm going to be starting a class called Beyond Limits, which is like the place to start launching into 2018. People have been wanting to talk about making some major changes. It's a 10-week program. I'm getting rid of the tuition. So there will be no tuition unless you want it for credit. If you want it for credit, we have to talk about the logistics of that legally with home office. But if you want to just take this class, you have to commit to all 10 weeks. You know, you can't pop in or out. So it will be a love offering only for 10 weeks. But I'm taking the tuition away, and it's just going to be a love offering class. It will be held at 9 o'clock in the morning, and again at 6 o'clock at night. You will need to commit, for the most part, to either one class or the other. We can talk about specifics. I highly recommend that you show up for the first class. Showing up for the first class, looking at the curriculum, talking about what's expected of everyone, making sure expectations are really clear, so that you can change your life in 10 weeks. This is the launching pad, what I call the launching pad, for you to get into some major life shifts. No matter what age you are, it's time for you to make a shift. It's always time for us to do that. So I want to see this room packed full of people. I think it's a great New Year's resolution to bring change to yourself and to the lives of others, and this is the way to do that. So we will see you starting the first class, which I think is January 8th. Wow, that's right around the corner, isn't it? Wow, okay. All right, well, I'm done talking. I'll see you all in a little bit. Oh, let me forget. I forgot my...
Okay, well, the exciting news is you're here, and we're here, and we're the guest artists today. Miss Gina, there you are. And we also have Chase Huna sitting in with us today. Come on out, Chase. I love this guy. I just love this guy. And that hair. All right, so the power of one begins with believing. Here we go. Here we go.
right, Jerry Lynn and Chase. All right. Beautiful. Thank you all. Good morning officially. Good morning. Let's take a deep breath in. Let's go to work. What do you think? You ready? Let's take a deep breath in. One more time. Deep breath all the way in. Yep, in the holiday scramble, things get kind of chaotic. So let's take just a few moments now and get to that quiet place. That place where you don't have to figure out what's on your list or what you have to do next. That place where you don't have to figure out the answer to what's going on in your life and the questions that you have. It's just going to that space right now in this very room with a spiritual community that loves and supports you, with the beautiful opportunity to become open and receptive to a message that can literally change your life. So let's take a deep breath in. All to Spirit I surrender. All to Thee I freely give. I will always love and trust you, and in your presence daily live. All to Spirit I surrender. All that's good is wholly mine. In your presence, in this oneness, through you I am power divine, and I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Spirit, I surrender all.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. And so in this beautiful moment, this season of light, it is so easy to feel and recognize that creative spirit, that one life back of and beneath all. And everything that we see, we sense, everything we feel within us and outside of us, it is all goodness, it is all godliness, it is God. And in this festive season, the presence of that Spirit is everywhere, showing up in wondrous ways as a presence of beauty and light, of love and joy, of peace and goodwill. And in this truth, we cannot help but feel connected to that Spirit, that we are one with our source as it moves in, through, and around us, expressing itself through the means of each one of us at every turn as we move through our day. And around that corner, there's that feeling of expectancy, of something good, something wonderful about to unfold for us. And yet we know deep down within us that the gifts have already been given, that we open up to those gifts now, the gift of health and well-being, knowing that we are one with God's wholeness and perfection. That we open up to the gift of sustenance and support, of prosperity and wealth, for we live in God's abundance. And we open up to loving relationships, knowing that that unconditional love that is God lives within each and every one of us. And we open up to the gift of peace and harmony, recognizing that beyond all seeming appearance, there is a divine order and a spiritual law that always provides the well-being for each and every one. And last but certainly not least, we open up to that gift of joy, the joy of simply being alive and experiencing all this wonderment that we call God, that we call goodness. And so in gratitude for all that I have and all that is yet to come, I release the words of this prayer, knowing that it is done unto each of one of us as we claim it for our own. And so I invite you to claim it as your own now as we say together, and so it is. Amen.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I awake in this holy silence. I hear all that has never been said, and right here in this holy silence we find God when we find ourselves. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So we awake in this holy silence. We hear all that needs to be said, and right here in this holy silence we find God when we find ourselves. And I find God when I find myself. And you find God when you find yourself. Let's take a deep breath in. And get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Please join me, lyrics are up front. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. And get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Lost touch with my soul. I had nowhere to turn, I had nowhere to go. Lost sight of my dream, thought it would be the end of me. Thought I'd never make it through. I had no hope to hold on to. I thought I would break. I didn't know my own strength, and I crashed down and I tumbled, but I did not crumble. I got through all the pain. I didn't know my own strength, survived my darkest hour. Faith kept me alive, picked myself back up, held my head up high. not to know my own strength.
Thank you, Jerry Lynn. All right. And let's hear for this band and the backup singers, guys. Let's hear for them this weekend. So we're going to continue our quest for December to talk about living a life of integrity. And today my talk is about living a life of courage. Thank you. Here we go. Thank you, William. Actually, what we've been really talking about is this, and we talked about it last week. We embrace the quality of being honest and strive to let our inner convictions match our outer actions. We express wholeness, honesty, and fairness in our relationships and activities. Let's say that together. Let that sink in for a minute. Let's say it kind of slower than I did, though. Ready? We embrace the quality of being honest and strive to let our inner convictions match our outer actions. We express wholeness, honesty, and fairness in our relationships and activities. What if we actually took that statement and lived that statement every day? How would that be different? Now, sometimes we think we are, to a certain degree, but maybe are we treating everybody fairly? Are we always being honest? Are our outer actions really consistent with what our inner idea is that we want to be? Are we being consistent with that? Here's your affirmation for the day. Let's go for it. Infinite intelligence governs, guides, directs, sustains, and animates my life. The infinite mind knows no mistakes. Say that last line. The infinite mind knows no mistakes. One more time. The infinite mind knows no mistakes. Yeah, right. So I've had one heck of a week to share with you. And I'm going to just put it right out there because the word's going to get out anyway. So it goes with this. No one can become either discouraged or afraid if they realize that there is but one mind which they may use consciously. I was, Tuesday night, I decided to have another little heart episode. No, it's all good. So it's good in that it really wasn't one. It was one that was acting like one, and of course then it was acting like one, so what did I act like? Like I was having one, right? So I finally got my 10th punch on an ambulance card, so my next one's free. That's what my husband says. I don't think it's funny at all, but that's okay. And I had a lot of time to think. It wasn't a heart attack. It had nothing to do with it. It was just a reaction I was having that emulated one. But be that the case, I had a lot of time to reflect on exactly what I'm going to be talking about today because I had already written what I was going to talk about. And so I was reflecting on, okay, now is the time to trust. Do you have faith to trust? And it's really interesting that when you're on the couch and you're flopping like a fish on a dock because you can't breathe, how much you wonder how much you really trust in that moment that there is an infinite intelligence taking care of you, that there is something greater than that, than you, that is in charge of all of this stuff. Now, it could have been, who knew at that moment what it was going to be, but in that moment of challenge, what happens to your faith? What happens to it? And as it proceeded throughout the night as I was being worked on by, these paramedics and then on the ER and all this stuff. Well, okay, how much faith do you have when all of this chaos is moving around you? How much courage do you have to stick to your faith when things don't look the way you think they should look? That's my question for you. So when things start to look a little bit different, do you have the courage to stand in your faith? Do you become discouraged or afraid? Or do you realize that there is one mind that is working intelligently throughout all things? Our human reaction many times, and I have to tell you that I flip-flopped back and forth. Anybody else ever do that? All right, you kind of flip-flop back. 1 minute you're like, I'm good. The next minute, oh my God, I'm a mess. I'm great. I'm fabulous. Oh my God. Anybody? Okay, good. Yeah, see, there's some hands waving in the back. Good, we've got a good group. Do not entertain discouragement, fear, or unbelief. It's in those moments that we entertain those thoughts. And I mean, it's really interesting, the thoughts that one can entertain when one is going through a process like that. So I learned a lot about myself by the thoughts I was entertaining. My first thing that I began to entertain is I was having a hard time breathing, and I finally told Trey, I said, okay, we're on our way. We're called 911. And he's like, really, again? And I know, what is that? It had nothing to do with stress. I swear to God, it had nothing to do with stress or diet. But I don't want to give you my diagnosis, but let's just leave it at that. So anyway, the first thing I thought in that moment was, I looked at him and I said, I am so sorry for everything I ever did that ever hurt you. Because I thought, if this is the time when I'm going down, I got to go down apologizing, right? It's like, I love you, I really do. I'm so sorry if I've ever hurt you. I'm so sorry. And he looked at me, he's like, you're not going anywhere. I'm like, I know, but in case I do, I just want you to know this. I want you to know that was where I was coming from in that moment. I wasn't entertaining thoughts of disbelief. I was entertaining thoughts of, okay, got to get square with everybody in that moment. Here's your moment, Joe. This is it. You got to be square because you don't know what the next moment's going to hold. So in those moments, how do you react? Are you looking at I didn't have any regrets. I looked back on my life and I went, woo, okay, if this is it, we do it. If not, keep going, right? But it was really nice that I said, the only thing I thought about is, I'm sorry if I've ever hurt you and I love you. That was the only thoughts that came through my head. And then I thought, okay, now, Joe, do you have the courage to stand in your own strength and know that everything is unfolding as it should? Do you have the courage to do that? No one who has ever tried this has failed. It would be impossible to do so. If any thought would have failed, let them realize that somewhere they have fallen short of the divine calling. The truth cannot fail, for it is God, the absolute and unconditioned one who is the truth. When you are standing in your faith cannot fail. That doesn't mean that I might not have made my transition in that moment. That's not a failure. Transitions are never failures. They're just transitions. They're changes. But whatever was going to happen, I had to realize that anyone who held on to their faith has to know that whatever is unfolding for your highest and best good. Can you accept that? Even in the times when they're hooking you up to a machine, you have to know that I'm in my right place, that everything is unfolding as it should. And I have to believe that there's a divine intelligence surrounding all of the activities that are surrounding me. Ready? There is a divine intelligence surrounding you and all of the activities that are going around you. Now, sometimes we may look at that activity and go, that's divinely guided? Are you kidding me? Because it may feel contrary to what you think it should look like. But keep in mind, if one believes, then the universe always has all of this stuff well under control. Are we good? All right, together please. Infinite intelligence governs, guides, directs, sustains, and animates my life. The infinite mind makes no mistakes. Try it again. The infinite mind knows no mistakes. Ready? Here we go. God and I are always the majority. What is deep in my heart is always the will of God through me, and therefore supported by this infinite presence. We don't govern our life by consensus. You and the decisions that you make in your life are a majority. You constitute a majority. So what is deep in your heart constitutes a majority. You don't need to email everyone or post on social media or get consensus from anyone, actually. Your heart's intention, your divine purpose and heart's intention is already God ordained, and the two of you are in business and you're a majority stakeholder right there. It's a done deal. Don't ever allow yourself to give away control to someone else when really the only person that's in the majority control always has to be you. Now, that doesn't mean you harm other people. It doesn't mean you walk over other people to get what you want. What it means to me is this: I am always in divine right business with universal intelligence. You're in business of life. Life is a business. Do you agree? Life is a business. We have all sorts of things to deal with, just like a business. You are in business with an infinite intelligence that always knows a lot more than anyone else that we would lean on for advice. Are we there? Integrity. In order to live a life of courage, one has to be able to stand in integrity. It's doing the right thing when we know it's the right thing to do. It's who we are. It's being true to the lives to which we have been called. It's who we are when someone's watching and when there is not a soul in sight. So, I was on one of those gurneys that are really comfortable for about 6 hours in the hallway. I know. Gotta love it. I'm blessed in the gurney. I had a lot of time to think about who's watching me. Because first of all, I wasn't in a private room at that point in the ER. I was in a hallway. So there I am. And there are church people walking around. And I'm like, okay, who are you? Are you going to sit here and hold on to your faith in that moment? Are you going to stand in the integrity that you talk about? Or are you going to crumble? Just like this. I didn't know my own strength. I could have crumbled. But no, it's standing up in the strength when someone's watching and even when they're not. It's doing the right thing because it's always the right thing to do whether someone's watching or not. It's standing in truth even when sometimes we could be pulled away from that and it would be easy to divert ourselves from that. But it's standing in the truth and doing what the truth is calling us to do even though there are influences on the outside which could cause you to make a different decision. So standing in integrity is important. Being in integrity is following this path no matter what. And the power and courage to do so comes from a deep faith in knowing that God has my back. Say that last phrase. God has my back. Say it again. God has my back. And your front and your sides too. It has the tops, the bottoms, the front, the back, the sides, everything. But God has your back. When you can really stand up and be courageous when you know that you're coming from a place of integrity and that God has your back. Does that make sense? Together, please. Infinite intelligence governs, guides, directs, sustains, and animates my life. The infinite mind knows no mistake. What is deep within me is my divine alignment. It is my truth and power. Therefore, it has all the power of spirit contained within it. What is deep within me is my divine alignment. It is my truth and therefore has all the power of spirit contained in it. So, is it hot in here? It's not just, okay, no air conditioning, but can we at least move the air? How's that? And if it gets too cold, if I see people shivering, then we'll hunker down and we'll turn it off. Okay. What is deep within me is that alignment. What's that? Are you all shivering already? All right, now look at you. Stop it. No, don't. All right. Everything you've ever had in your mind is a seed, and within that seed, spirit contains everything that it needs to do to make sure it gets done. All right? Within you is a divine intelligence, so every idea that you have is a divine seed. Within that divine seed is every single thing that needs to be done so you can accomplish what that means to you in your life. You need to hang on to that thought. I need to hang on to that thought because many times when we're in crisis situations, we're planting seeds we don't want to sow. Really? Seriously? That's it? When we're in crisis mode, sometimes we say and think things that we really don't want to manifest. Yes, that's the truth. It's the truth. In those times when businesses start to struggle, what do? Our mind goes, oh my God, well, what happens if it doesn't get better? And what's the seed there? What's the seed? Is the seed saying the business is going to get better? No. The seed is, what if it doesn't? So I'm planting a doesn't seed in my head. And the universe doesn't know that the universe cannot spit that seed out saying, no, Joe, it's not good for you. If that would happen, if the universe could spit out the seeds that weren't good for us, nothing would ever happen to us that would have any negative impact. Sorry, didn't mean to spit on you. Holy water. Boom. But think about that. Think about it. If the seeds that we plant in times of crisis are the seeds of doubt or fear or anxiety or how am I going to do this or how am I going to make this. Think about that as a seed that cannot be rejected from the consciousness of God, and therefore it will manifest in a beautiful garden of doubt. And I say beautiful because it's going to be fully manifested in your life. You will have manifested that. So we have to be really careful. I can have the courage to offer myself without fear of rejection or approval because I know my true self is empowered by God's love. So we need to be able to stand in our truth and just know that God has my back, and that as long as I'm coming from a place of love and truth and non-judgmentalism, and as long as I'm coming from the exact teachings that Jesus, the master teacher, taught that we celebrate this time of year, which is the birth of unconditional love, if I'm coming from that place, then I can have the courage to offer myself up without fear of rejection, because if someone doesn't like what I'm doing, at least I'm authentic and true to myself, and that's their problem, not mine. Yeah? This is really an important thing to take into next weekend when you're around family. Okay? This is a really good idea to embrace as you enter into the holiday season. Right? As topics come up. And they will. You don't have to enter into the fray of those. Now it's cold. Turn that off, Lynn. Thank you. Sorry. I'm hormonal. Oh my God. Anyway, one doesn't have to go into those. Remember this. Everything coming up with family and relatives, and I give this as a warning because I have my own family and relatives coming too, you're a volunteer. Make sure you are volunteering for what you want to experience, which means I don't have to voluntarily respond to something that I feel passionate about, that someone feels equally passionate about their opinion as I do mine, but they're differing. So I don't have to go into that to protect any part about me. I will stand in my silent truth and eat pie. Gluten-free. Okay? So everybody heed the warning. So next week, or not next week, but the following week, we're all going to talk about how we had magnificent family experiences because we just let them be them and we were us and we didn't engage with all of that and we just went, okay, beautiful. And now, off into the new year we go. All right? Courage isn't having the strength to go on. It's going on when you don't have the strength. I like that. Napoleon Bonaparte wrote that. Courage isn't having the strength to go on. It's going on when you feel like you just don't have anything else to give. That's what it feels like to have courage. So I bet there's something in your life. I know I have a list. I'm sure you have a list as well. It's not the list Santa wants to look at, but okay. But I bet there's a list. And I bet sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes you go, I feel like I just don't have it in me to keep going and going and going and going on this. And you question, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And the courage is to stand up and look at it and go, you know what? And I oh God, I don't have enough time for that one. Maybe I do. Reverend Marion told me to tell you this one. All right, so I have a paradigm. And I'll just be honest with you. I have a paradigm that everything always, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to confess. This is me. Everything good comes to me, right? I believe that. Everything good comes to me. But I have a paradigm that it never comes easily. That there's always something that is attached to it that never really feels free and easy. it's always like it came at a cost. I got it, but it came at a cost. And so I've often asked myself, literally, Trey and I have been talking about this past few weeks because we've been together 29 years, and I said, over the past 29 years, we got to kind of rewind a little bit and figure out where we, because as a couple, it was us, where we became aware of an idea that said, okay, we wanted such and such to happen, and we ended up getting it, but it really wasn't easy getting there. There was on the back end, there was always something that kind of went wrong, that diminished it in some way, shape, or form. I'll just say that. Does that sound complete? Could you get the picture? Can anyone else relate to that? Okay, so let's talk about the pattern of courage. The courage is to be able to rewind and go, when did this start? How did this start? And now, understanding that I have now created a belief system around this entire thing, then I look back and I go, no wonder everything that's ever happened that is great for us. There's some, at the very end, there's always like this little kicker, right? This little thing that sort of takes the joy out of it just a little bit, just enough. Anybody else can relate to this? Okay, if you can relate to it, great, then we got a lesson to learn together. So I have to go back because now I literally have a belief system that great things will happen, but there's going to be a kick at the very end. So how do I eliminate that? How do I eliminate that? And so I have to start, because I have to the first part in eliminating it is recognizing that I'm the one who created it and God is just giving its rubber stamp, yes, I'm going to do it for you. Ooh, right? That hurts. Because now I have to be held accountable for the fact that I have somewhere in my mind planted a seed of great success. But I've also simultaneously planted another seed that said it's going to come at a pretty significant price, or at the very end, it's not going to manifest the way you want it to manifest, and there's going to be some level of disappointment because I didn't do it all the way. So I'm just going to confession and letting you know that, because I thought about that at 2 o'clock in the morning when I was sitting there in that hallway by myself going, what the heck's going on here in my life? And I realized that things are really working out really well in my life, so why am I here? And then I realized it's because I have a belief system that I've created that says you can have great things, Joe. You can lead a great center, a great church, and you can have all these things that you dreamed of in a family and all these things, but you've attached some negativity to it. So whatever you've attached to, it's just like what I teach with the spiritual pasta machine. I have attached some sort of negative belief in, and now I'm the one who has to figure out the way, with good prayer and meditation and a lot of work, to disconnect that stuff so it can no longer go into the spiritual pasta maker. But there had to be that realization first. So you have to do the self-contemplation and realization for yourself first. When you do that, have the courage to do that now, so you don't waste another tomorrow or next week or next year. Does that make sense? Each time there is some same problem, do I dare? And then each time there is the same problem. You ask yourself, do I dare do this? And then if you do dare, the dangers are there and the help also in the fulfillment or the fiasco. But there's always the possibility of a fiasco, but there's also the possibility of happiness. Right? So, when you ask yourself, do I dare take that move? Just remember, you have to ask yourself, there could be a fiasco or there could be fabulousness. And either one, you have to know that there's a power that's going to enhance both, and you're going to have to choose which one you want to enhance. And you're going to do that by the power of using the science of mind and enhancing that. When we attach ourselves to Bob Proctor, I grabbed this book on the way out today. Just literally, it was just staring right there in the book thing, right? And I grabbed it, and I turned to a page, and it said, the more fear you have, the more, and he uses this word, the dumber you become. I didn't say that, he did, so get mad at him for calling me that. And I thought, wow, that's really true. The more fear I have, the more I become, I don't want to use the word dumb, but dumb, right? I don't live to my fullest potential. and unconscious. That's a good word. I become unconscious. Boy, I tell you what, I know what that feels like. Together, please. Infinite intelligence. Together, please. Infinite intelligence governs, guides, directs, sustains, and animates my life. The infinite mind knows no mistake. Last quote. Whatever you do, you need courage. Whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you're wrong. There are always difficulties arising that tempt you to believe your critics are right. But I'm here to tell you, you have to do it anyway. Remember, you and God or Spirit, or call it whatever you want to call it, are a majority. You hold the majority of stock in your own life, and you get to decide how that business is to be run. So have the courage to examine some of the things that got you where you are today, some of the beliefs and the paradigms that I'm willing to share with you. I share a lot of my intimate insights with you so that maybe perhaps you can see yourself in them, and you can say, if Joe can do it and make it public, then I can at least do it in private. But give you permission to actually take a look and examine this stuff. Because if we want to live a fulfilled life, it requires us to do the necessary back work, head work, to make that unfold. Does that make sense? So have the courage to look at that this week. And have the courage to just be that person. And don't get caught up in the fiasco. Be caught up in the festivity of this. Yeah? And so enjoy your lesson. Thank you, everybody.
So I call our ushers to come forward. So, like I say, this is a sacred part also of our service. This is when you get to give and you get to be part of this, an active participant. So those of you that are live streaming, please don't forget to hit the donate button, or you can text to the number on the screen. And as we get ready, let's just go within, and in this season, let's just take a moment to contemplate how truly blessed we are in our lives and how grateful we are to be here. And let's say our offertory prayer together, please. I give my offering with gratitude as I recognize the demonstration of Spirit's generosity in all areas of my life.
1, 2, 3, 4. I release and I let go. When the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. Release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. When my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. Yes, I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God.
So let's bless our offerings. Let's hold up our hands, send our love and light to it, and say together, this collective offering is Spirit in action. As it circulates into the universe, it touches and blesses many lives, including my own. All right. So at this time, I'd like to welcome our visitors. If you are here for the first time, please stand up. We want to welcome you, and we have a gift for you. Anyone here for the first time? Come on. I can't believe. Oh, yes, there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And over here, that's great. So what we're giving you is a CD holder with information about who we are, our center. But please stop by the foyer table over here outside and pick up a couple of Dr. Joe's CDs. And if you're visiting the desert, please enjoy yourselves. If not, if you're from here, come back. Make this your spiritual home. Don't forget that over in the Om room, this is our prayer team. They're over there praying. If there's anything that you're going through or anything you want to set an intention for, please meet with our practitioners over in the next building over. And so don't forget that this Wednesday is our movie night. Please come. And look at our cute little Christmas little, oh, now don't you want one of those for Christmas? Oh, and they need blankets desperately and food. So please, you can drop those off during the week. And please go out there and buy some wonderful little baked goods. Oh, this little baby's got his sweaters on and everything. All right, thank you. All right. So again, don't forget the Wednesday night movie. Sign-ups for classes are out on the patio, and the flyers are there. If you have any questions, we'll be out there to answer those. So in this time of the year, let us just come together in consciousness right now as we do our closing prayer. So in this time of the year of light, that Christ consciousness that is within each and every one of us, we allow it to guide us. We have the courage to be silent. We have the courage to know when to speak. We have the courage to accept the gifts of life and to know that we are deserving, that this is our birthright, and that when challenges face us, we remember the truth. We always go back to the truth that our God is bigger than any perceived challenge. So I know that in this time of giving, in this time of love, that Christ consciousness that is within each and every one of us, we tap into that and we see the beauty and the perfection of our lives. We are grateful for exactly where we are, knowing that there is even more good on its way. It is already ours and we claim it. So in this week, we give the gift of ourselves. We give the gift of love, compassion, our light, our love. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity to come together as a faith community. So grateful for every breath that we take. I just say thank you, and I allow this season of joy to manifest and to unfold in its perfect way. And please join me as we say, and so it is. Amen. Have a wonderful week, everyone.